Morning traders, my morning video. And basically, so far this morning, we seem to be bleeding a little bit lower in these markets. Typically, after a major news event, stimulus packages like this, there's a lot of times you'll see um, sell the news event. And some of the things I'm seeing in this market, I'm kind of thinking that's what we're going to get is sell the news today. For one thing, on the volume profile in the overnight session, and the news came out is around 1 o'clock in the morning. We had that massive rally. So basically, right now the news came out around 1. Okay, right through here, the news broke. So uh, knowing that that's the breakout move, this is the area uh, we need to hold above this area right here, uh, or it becomes a full-on sell the news event. But I'm thinking we're actually going to back test the news event this morning. So something to keep on watch going forward here into your trading session. I think we're going to bleed lower into the open and see if it's justified. See if buyers are going to step up and justify the news and holding the news event, or do they want to sell into it? Just some things I'm thinking about here. And what justifies that further, instead of the highest volume to do business is right at this week's market maker move high, we actually started, buyers started stepping away before we even managed to get that high. So, that kind of supports my thesis. So we'll see what happens here going into the markets. It's still early in the morning. You really don't see volumes show up till 7 o'clock. So, but I'm thinking they're going to sell the news this morning. And we're actually probably going to see red in the Russell and possibly the S&Ps early in this morning's session, in my opinion, that we're going to see some of the indices actually showing red on the board instead of these massive up moves in the markets, in my opinion. So something to keep in mind going forward here in your trading. I can get this stuff to pull up now. Well, wouldn't you know it? There it is. Okay. NQs. Okay, we're coming back in on our NQs. We are above our this week's expected market maker move. So, but keep in mind, all the overnight inventory, we pushed out above, but the overnight inventory did not migrate with price on the Qs, and now we are getting a responsive short squeeze or a sell off back into the volume point of control. So basically, I'm expecting the 74.91 area. This area should actually add X for support going into the open, and then we will see either the markets decide to take off or have continued weakness this in the morning session. So just a few things to look at right here. It does look like exhaustion in the overnight session for the upside move so far. So something to keep in mind going forward here in your trading. And then the one I think is going to be the weakest, that would be your Russell. And I'll give you some reasons why here in just a few minutes. Basically, we've had this gap up move in the Russell. We've come on up to our market maker move. And basically, there was just really no volume supporting Russell at these prices in the overnight session. So that's why I'm really thinking that we've hit a significant high in these markets. The lack of overnight volume and inventory in the Russell, it should have actually had a lot more supportive um, volume at these, leading the way to the up, in my opinion. So the Russell really looking weak to me in the morning session. So going forward here, I'd much rather be on the short side than the long side on the Russell, in my opinion. So that's a few things I'm looking at here on that. Okay, on the ES futures, some of the takeaways that I've got, we still are, at least the bonds aren't falling out of favor here. Let's see here. Let me get my chart up. Okay. Basically, the bonds, they seem to be catching a bid, in my opinion, on the bonds here, and they are holding the bonds up. So that's something to keep in mind. I think the bonds are trying to migrate back up to 137.28 area. So that'll bring our yields back in. So something to keep on watch going forward here in today's session. Crude, they're dumping crude as we speak. It's come right back into value as we speak. So that might be it for the selling pressure. Then it might not. And we do have inventories hitting the tape after close tonight. I believe today's Wednesday, right? I better double check here. Yeah, today's Wednesday. Okay, today 10:30, and so we do have inventories at 10:30. So, and they're probably going to be really big builds on the inventories. So keep that in mind. I don't see any reason why you want to buy into crude oil itself. The energy space caught a bit short squeeze yesterday, but I think they're going to sell the energy space off hard today. And yesterday was actually a shorting opportunity for a lot of the energy names coming into today's session. Uh, so something to keep in mind going forward here on your trading. And they are selling gold off this morning. So basically, all the stimulus hitting the market. Traders are feeling more comfortable about taking some money out of their gold and possibly um, because bottom line is you're not going to have the margin calls and stuff with the in my opinion, you're not going to have a lot of margin calls on an up move this morning. So any type of sell off in the gold right now, you're probably seeing more money getting put to work back into the equities, than anything else for any type of responsive sell off in these markets, in my opinion. But it is holding out very well up here in the gold. I'm not going to read a whole lot into this minor little correction. It doesn't amount to much of anything. Ordinarily, I don't even do a scan on the Russell. This is a morning scan for the Russell. You really don't typically get much volume in the Russell. But some things that I'm looking at here in the Russell, there just really isn't any type of depth to speak of in the volumes this morning. Look at this. These volumes are virtually anemic in the Russell. You have, I've never even heard of Aircastle Limited. You basically have AMC, the movie theaters showing a little bit of life, and that's just, that is just a little bit of life, in my opinion. So, there's really nothing going on here in the Russell supporting the move so far. So, that's why I did want to bring that up this morning. And then we'll go down here to my other things here. And then here we got in the S&Ps, of course, Boeing. We were up over 150 just a little while ago on Boeing, and it's already come in considerably on Boeing. I was really upset earlier about not having a strangle on for Boeing, but with it coming back in like it has, I would have probably be break even or even a loss on that on any type of strangle with Boeing. So obviously they're bringing things back in a big way so far this morning. So look the Dow implied open right now is virtually back to break even on the Dow at this point. That is amazing. When we were up over 700 points earlier this morning, that is just one heck of a sell off so far this morning. Wow, this is quite amazing here in these markets. Basically, the airlines who are getting the bailout, they're at the top of the board here. Delta, nice little bid in Delta. Got a little bid in Apple. Facebook had news out that their ad revenues are down, so they're probably going to sell Facebook today as the session goes on, in my opinion. So that's one that I would not want to be pushing to the upside. And then the banks do seem, Boeing's got a little bit of a bid, and that's every just a little bit of a bid. And they're actually taking Disney up a little bit this morning too, but I'm not even sure if Disney's listed in the bailout package. So that's one you have to be concerned about. If they're not getting a bailout and the way they're getting hit, I mean, this thing could really crater if they're not even listed in the bailout scenario. So something to keep, try to find out about the details on this bailout package before you jump into these names and see if they're actually going to benefit from it. So, but basically, right here, right now, we're not seeing a lot of big moves in this market, in my opinion. The S&Ps, we're almost a million here. It's not quite 7 o'clock yet. You'll probably have a 500,000 influx here in just about the next 10, 15 minutes. That's typically what happens here on the S&Ps. So that's why I'm not reading too much into this little sell-off in the markets until we actually see what's going to happen here. But still, uh, still getting heightened volumes for the time of the morning, in my opinion. Okay, and then we have on my NASDAQ, what's happening this morning? Tesla is the volume leader. We're up to 523 on Tesla now. And then our semiconductors are holding out really well. We got really wide spreads on the AMD here, so it's you can't read too much into that as a bullish signal. I'd like to have a lot tighter spreads. Microsoft, seeing Apple, Microsoft, and then I'm really concerned that Facebook is going to sell off today. JD's being quite responsive here. So it looks like the China names might have a bid once again in today's session. So keep that in mind going forward here. Most of this stuff's just pretty well anemic on the board. So yeah, just keep that in mind with the exception of Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla. Those are the driving force for any upside move in this market so far this morning. So you got basically three names that are driving price in this morning session. So we will look at that real quick here on my charts. And if you look at Tesla, okay, and basically we have a lots of value at the 233 area on Tesla, and it looks like to me that we have overshot outside of value on Tesla. They were trying to shot for higher prices on this market explosion to the upside, and it seems like it's coming back into this value area on Tesla. So keep that in mind, a warning sign that this prices might not hold on Tesla, given market profile theory. Okay, and then Apple, it's solidly right inside of range, so it's not really way out of the woods. We've already made the expected market maker move high for the week for Apple. So we basically finding a little bit of selling pressure versus what market makers had expected for Apple to end the week out with. So something to keep in mind going forward here into the opening session. Microsoft already hit the expected market maker move high this morning. We are outside of the value area on Microsoft here. So something to keep on watch going forward here. Microsoft showing a lot of relative strength, in the markets. So, maybe this is a dip buying opportunity for a massive move up. I don't know. It seems like, as far as expectations go, Microsoft has hit the goal for the week, and we'll see if the markets are. And I did mention in my prior videos, I don't have Microsoft as actually coming down to the price my bottom level yet. So keep that in mind going forward here. I don't think it has bottomed out here on Microsoft quite yet. So that's the one Apple had, and it is showing a little bit more relative strength. But Microsoft, I just missed my target. So we'll just keep that in mind going forward here. But right here, right now, it looks like the overnight inventory is being sold into as we speak. And then I have Nike because they had earnings last night, and so far they're trying. Unfortunately, they're selling it off. Unfortunately, I have 82.50 as potential upside target if the markets were to catch a bid this morning, which I am not going to say that's going to be the case. I'm kind of a little worried about it myself, but we are outside of value because of the earnings, and so basically, if we were to open right in this price range, I got a strangle on. I'm probably about break even on my strangle at this price point. So that's unfortunate, but true. And then SPY, unfortunately, I think I'm underwater on SPY still. No. So SPY's coming in hard here. I actually initiated Tuesday close. Tuesday close. There it was. After hours, we had a really big pop the last 15 minutes up to so at 414. I actually bought SPY puts, so it looks like right now I'm up up on SPY puts because they've actually given up the after hours close price as we speak. So that made my day a little bit if it holds this way. So we'll see what happens. But right now, it looks like they are selling the news on these markets. So you have to be aware of that going forward here in your trading session. Potential dead cat bounce. And I think a lot of people, myself included, do not think the lows are in on this market. And we were closing right into some significant resistance areas yesterday, and it seems like we are immediately finding selling pressure into the market so far this morning, despite really good fiscal stimulus news hitting the tape. Okay, that's all I got to say today. See today, and I'm just basically stick with the leaderboard. I mean, 1 second here. Let me check the earnings. Okay, as far as ratings this morning, they had Coke upgraded to 51. Wouldn't you know it? So that puts us up here into this price point up here on Coca-Cola. You have Square upgraded this morning. I think it's 49. So it's pretty much all the way to the top already. Okay, we had a nice upgrade for Lockheed Martin this morning. And that's probably somebody's going to benefit from this stimulus possibly with the whole Boeing thing trying to recover here. 360 on that upgrade for Lockheed Martin. And then the darling of the markets, Apple, got a nice upgrade to 270 today. And that's not that far away. So, I love seeing upgrades, but I want to see upgrades that are outside of the current bell curve. And we just didn't get that. So, if you're not getting upgrades that are taking you way up above, outside, moves, that's not the type of upgrades that I want to see in the market's supporting price. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking here on these markets. I'm not trusting anything on the ratings front. Nike price target was raised to 94 at Piper Jeffries. So that's actually supporting my 8250 thesis for today. So I'm probably not going to be dumping my Nike on the open. I might be taking my short legs off and seeing if it can run in today's session. So that's one that I am keeping on watch as one of the leaders for today's session if the markets do stabilize here going forward here. Nike is outside. That is the best rating upgrade. It is outside this bell curve thing. So that is the one standout that I see this morning in the morning session here. Target came out this morning. They're cutting expansion plans, the number of stores they plan on, new stores they're planning on doing. They cut back. They cut their buyback plan and said that they had really strong demand for basic, fundamental essentials for households. They're seeing that in their things. So far this morning, we're really not getting any type of reaction out of it, but they are a headliner hitting the tape this morning. Okay, a major concern going forward in today's trading. We are at the top of this bell curve on Amazon. Breaking news out: 6 warehouses have tested positive. Workers have tested positive in 6 separate warehouses for Amazon in today's morning session. So, right here, right now, everybody thinks Amazon's going to be able to supply our country during this crisis. That they've been bidding this up under that belief. Well, now you got 6 separate warehouses that have confirmed reports of the virus. You have to ask: are they going to have to start shutting down facilities to combat this outbreak? So this is a major concern going forward here. I think so. That is something to me. That is the most important headline of the day. So I would not want to be net long Amazon under this type of cloud going forward, and they're not even 20% off the highs in this market correction, and this is the first actual report of any type of bad news related to Amazon and the coronavirus. So this really concerns me going forward in today's session of a potential impact on the shares today. Okay, that's everything I got to say. Like the video if you like it. Please leave comments and stuff. Follow me on Twitter. It's Gumby9662C on Twitter, and help retweet my videos and stuff, and we'll get some people and try to educate as many people as we can. Thanks a lot for all your help in the trading rooms, and I will see you guys tomorrow.